wandering curator Evan here. I'm in one of the magazines on Battleship, New Jersey. Apologize for the audio. These are not sound studios. They're big echo chambers. So apologies for that. You could, if you still want to complain about the audio, feel free to do it in the comments. Thank you for watching. Hello, Ryan. Can you please tell us where we are, please?
We are in one of the powder magazines for turret number 3, our aftmost 16-inch gun. And like so many of the other spaces that are off of our tour route, we don't maintain the lighting here, so all the bulbs have died, which is why you get this nice spooky effect.
No, we're really filming a B-horror movie. There's going to be a guy in this bug-eyed monster outfit that's going to scare you in a few minutes.
Yes, I've been preparing for this my whole life.
The one thing I wanted to ask is, one of the main worries on any ship is a fire in one of these compartments or an explosion or a spark. What precautions did they take on New Jersey to prevent that from happening?
Oh man, so the shells, the projectiles that the guns fired, are stored in the barbettes, and some of them are even stored above waterline. But the magazines are as deep in the ship as possible. They're all below water. They're all in the most heavily armored part of the ship, the Citadel, and they are all outside of the turret. Now, the turrets are these huge structures on deck. So penetrating hits like bombs or enemy battleship shells that were to land on the deck of the ship have something like a 30% chance of hitting a gun turret. And if that projectile defeats the armor of the gun turret, it will destroy that entire turret, which is a 5 or 6 story tall rotating structure. So if the magazines were part of that, that would also detonate. Only one full charge per barrel was allowed in the turret at any given time. So while you could have multiple shells in the hoist getting sent up to the barrel, for the powder you only had one charge of up to 6 bags for each of the 3 barrels in there at any given time. So it limits how big of an explosion there can be. When you get into the magazine here, we've got roller doors, 2 of them that separate the magazine from the part of the turret, and there's this counterweighted door here, which we could open with one hand just because of the counterweight, and then when it's in the open position, all we have to do is pull that, and it drops the door back into the closed position. So roll a bag through, close this again, then there's 2 flash-proof roller doors. Alternatively, if there's a fire that makes it into the magazine, here it is, we've got some uninsulated pipes in the overhead. The insulated pipes you see, they're marked CW, that's chilled water. Chill water is the part of the chill water radiator system in the overhead here that keeps these climate controlled. It was some of the only air-conditioned spaces in World War II, and that's for the powder, it's not for the crew. If the powder gets too hot, then it could prematurely detonate. So that's the insulated pipes. The uninsulated pipes are the flood system, and the tops of those pipes have holes drilled into them. So there are several places where you can trigger magazine floods from and deluge the space essentially, which will get all the powder wet, which means it won't burn anymore.
That's scary. This is probably 50 times the size of COD's magazine. Oddly enough, in COD's magazine, they actually store it in one of the compartments are POWs.
They put Japanese prisoners down here. They'd strip them naked topside, and literally, they had Japanese prisoners down here. And it's crazy as it seems, the padlocks on the doors kept them out of mischief.
No, actually, the ship does have a brig. We didn't put them in the brig. The brig was for sailors that misbehaved. The Japanese sailors that we captured, or rather were captured and then transferred to New Jersey, were placed in regular berthing compartments with the crew. And honestly, it seemed like those guys were so happy to not be tortured and killed and to have been rescued from the water and given clothes and food, that they did chores around the ship and were just happy to be there and generally well behaved.
Ryan, I noticed that a lot of these have a stencil on them that says keep off hoist. Now, were the New Jersey sailors using this as their own personal elevator?
The short answer is yes. The long answer is Battleship New Jersey was expected to get a rate of fire of 1 round per barrel every 30 seconds. And to fire a projectile, it takes 6 110-pound powder bags. So just having a group of guys in this magazine passing bags was not enough. So usually the magazines are 2 stories tall. The guys in the upper level magazines, to reduce the number of holes that are cut in the barbette and put those holes lower below water, would be loading their powder onto an elevator like this, which is gravity counterweighted. So when you put 100 pounds on the elevator, it will slowly come down into this position, and then you can take the bag from there onto the tray and pass it to the turret. As soon as the bag comes off, because this is counterweighted, it would spring back up into the up position to take the next bag. So, 100 pounds, your typical sailor is probably like 160, 170, 18-year-old kid fresh out of high school serving on this ship. So it seems like to get from magazine to magazine, sometimes they would just sit on the hoist and ride it down. And I suspect as they were getting off and these started to rocket back up, a couple of them probably ate it. And it only took 1 or 2 trips to the sick bay before Chief had him spray paint this everywhere.